this morning, Hannah has had a bit of a baptism of fire, I'm not going to lie. Even to the extent that, you know, I probably couldn't broadcast what we looked at today. It was heavy going, and you know, you wouldn't want to jump in there, and the tissue that we had was challenging in terms of the intestine stuff. So how are you doing, Hannah? You look
good.
Look like somebody's hit you with a bus.
Yeah. Apart from that, it's brilliant. It's actually interesting because yes, it was a challenging morning, but within that, I made a comment that I said I've probably learnt more within an hour than I have the last 20 odd years of physio, because even though we're working on cadavers, the anatomy is real, if that makes sense. Like it becomes alive when you see it underneath the surface. And what do we do as manual therapists? I'm a physio, you know, I've got bodywork therapists watching this, osteos, chiropractors, GPs, midwives. What do we do? We're touching the surface. So to actually understand what is going on underneath, I think is so valuable.
For me, it's also that three-dimensional aspect, because you know, you look at something in an anatomy book, or you know, even some of the great programs that are out there, the anatomy programs, and you know, you take something away and you assume that you just somehow have a picture in your head that when you're working on somebody, that's what you're working on. That's the pictures in your head that you've got, and to see it here, that you can sort of turn it round 360 degrees and look down at it and really feel the depth that you're in. There's no substitute for it. Exactly. And then all that stuff that, you know, is not in the books, which is the fat and the layers of connective tissue and the variations involved, is all there in all its glory, as we found out this morning.
I don't know about obviously you guys that are watching, but I was obviously trained, you know, from books and writing on boards and, you know, drawing on each other and marking things out. But then of course I believe something like this should be compulsory for anyone who is working with the human body to understand anatomy in all its glory. And of course we can teach, you know, as you might be watching this and you're a scar therapist, and that's great, but to actually see what's going on, the adhesions. This morning I've probably seen more adhesions than I will in my whole entire life. But to understand how the body repairs itself naturally, but actually the effects that can have, trauma on top of trauma, adhesions on top of adhesions, and what are we doing when we put our hands on that externally?
Yeah, that's the thing, is that, you know, it's trying to get our head around and trying to put new pictures in. That's what I'm always trying to say, is like, get new pictures, get new images, erase the old ones. So not erase them, because they're all good reference point, but get them in there. So
start learning again.
Do you think it's already going to change how? And you know, you've done years of scar work. Do you think it's already going to change how you think, or influence how you think and work?
I think it might already influence the communication that I use. Because I know we hear a lot about the scar tissue release, fascial release. Now, once you peel back the layers aren't there, it's all interwoven. How are you actually making a difference to that structure? And what do we mean by releasing? And we're going to be unpicking this literally over the course of the next few days.
I'm so glad, because I'm kind of the boogeyman. Sometimes I get on YouTube and I get you know, people having a right go at me, saying you need to broaden your horizons, you need to study more and understand that, you know, and so because I go, well, hang on a minute, you know, we're not really changing fascia, or because you can see it here, you're not changing fascia, you're not releasing scar tissue in the same way. But that's not to say that I'm trying to undermine what people are doing. I'm just trying to get a better narrative and a better story, rather than necessarily making these sort of big, broad, sweeping ideas about, you know, what is right or wrong, or what is we're doing. So, you know, just asking those questions.
And not only looking at something like this will enhance your understanding of the anatomy and scar tissue and lay down, etc., it will also help you communicate better with your clients and the people that you treat on a daily basis. Because what are we doing? You said it expertly this morning as we were talking, you're creating that space underneath, as whatever we're doing on the surface is creating that space underneath.
Potentially. It's creating potential for something to move
Lymphatic,
into.
yes, blood flow.
But I think managing expectations when you see something like a hip or the viscera that we looked at today that was just so pinned down is you know, you're not going to know whether that's the way that it is in any of your clients, but the potential for it to be there is there.
Yeah.
So.